Hello friends, tonight we're going to take a look at a relatively new and super awesome upper receiver configuration from Aero Precision. You know I love the M4E1 uppers, and this one is a pistol configuration with an 11.5 inch barrel, and you can purchase this as a complete unit from Aero. I love this barrel length, so much so that it's worth doing another AP video just about this one. The 11.5 inch barrels are growing in popularity as they give you a substantial bump in bullet velocity without adding too much extra weight or being unwieldy. For a long time, the 10.5 inch barrels were thought to be the best compromise of velocity and maneuverability, but the 11.5s are more intriguing to me personally. 55 grain projectiles stay above the threshold at which they perform over longer distances, though really just about any bullet weight is going to work better with that extra inch. You get 100 to 130 extra feet per second for that extra inch and a few ounces, and with 5.56, that can seriously increase the effectiveness of the shot. Before we dive into the features, I want to let you know that I've started a Patreon. As you know, YouTube isn't exactly Second Amendment friendly. Making these videos, especially the 3,000 round endurance test, is very expensive, and your support will help me to make better content far more often. Thank you for even considering supporting me, and I really appreciate you taking the time to comment and watch my videos and subscribe. Truly, I'm very grateful. But back to your regularly scheduled program. Features. So this was a complete upper from Aero with the everything assembled, the barrel on the upper, all that good stuff. All you have to do is attach it to your pistol lower of choice. And sorry, everything's not in frame. I only have so much room on my desk, so I'll include some high quality pictures that show the front end and the flashlight and everything all together. And by high quality, I mean really lousy ones taken here at my desk. Sorry in advance. The M4E1 upper receiver. I've talked about the features of this thing ad nauseum in other videos, but in short, you get a forward assist pin that's threaded for easy installation and swapping. The pick rails line up perfectly with the Atlas, and most importantly, there are these angular aesthetic touches that are really, really gorgeous. It almost looks like a billet upper receiver, even though it's not. The handguard is the Atlas rail. This is the 9-inch model. The Atlas rails are incredibly lightweight, strong, and beautiful, but the barrel, that's what we're all really here for. AR-15s are really just awesome bolt carrier groups and barrels held together by aluminum bits, and this barrel is an awesome barrel in traditional AR-15 fashion. It's an 11.5-inch government profile barrel made by Ballistic Advantage. Like all Aero barrels, Ballistic Advantage makes outstanding stuff. I found them to be exceedingly accurate, built to the highest standard, and reasonably priced. The barrel's finish is QPQ, which has become my preference, even over chrome lining. I don't have a barrel with any other finish currently installed on a gun, and I think QPQ is the future. The twist is 1 in 7, and the barrel weighs 20.5 ounces. That's about 3 ounces less than a 16-inch pencil barrel from Ballistic Advantage, but the weight is distributed very differently because of that government profile. The gas system is carbine length, and my muzzle device is a good old-fashioned A2 flash hider, my preference for most guns. The whole upper sans bolt carrier group weighs about 41.5 ounces, or 5.5 ounces less than the same upper with a 16-inch pencil barrel and the 15-inch Atlas rail. We're also going to take a look at this Aero Precision AR-15 pistol. This thing is really awesome. It's super lightweight and super handy. It's got a Trijicon MRO on top of it. The light is one of the Surefire M600 DFs. We've got a Geisley SSAE trigger in it. It's just a really, really, really nice pistol. SBA3 brace, my favorite brace by far. Nickel boron bolt. I'm trying to think of anything else. Radian stuff, Radian charging handle, and 90-degree selector or 45-degree selector. Really, really, really cool pistol. Let's see how it does. Yeah, I really, really like this thing. It is super snazzy. We're at about, not quite 50 yards. It's probably 40 yards. I'm a big fan of this combination of optic and rifle. It's super handy, incredibly lightweight. I much prefer the lightweight guns personally. I know some people still like the hefty old school ones, but for me, it's nice having just the not much weight out front. Now, the Spiritus, I really like the Velcro retention, or the elastic retention, I should say. I haven't had any problems getting stuff back in the pouches. To me, they just feel a little bit better than the snap ones. They're kind of flexible against my body. Like when I'm running, if one of these is empty, it kind of flexes and moves around me rather than digging into my front. So that's really nice, especially if you have to go prone. It's really cool. Why should you choose this barrel length? Any barrel shorter than 16 inches firing 5.56 is a compromise. 5.56, especially the 15-grain projectiles, was designed to be fired from a 20-inch barrel at ridiculously high velocities, and the bullet produces devastating wounds at those velocities. When you drop down to something like a 7.5-inch barrel, you've lost so much velocity that the bullet doesn't fragment on impact, making nice, neat little holes in your assailant instead of the giant, frankly disgusting, gaping wounds that you get with a 5.56 going at the right speed. So going to a heavier bullet like the 77 grain ones that are so popular these days, and rightfully so, gives you better performance, but even those perform better out of a longer barrel at higher velocities. It only makes sense. Most sources say that the 55 grain rounds fragment at 2,600 feet per second. A 7.5-inch barrel is never going to reach that velocity. A 10.5-inch barrel gets you there at about 2,750, but the bullet is going to quickly drop below that threshold of 2,600, making the 10.5 most effective with heavier bullets or at shorter distances. But that barrel length is so popular because most engagements do take place at shorter distances where the round can work as advertised. An 11.5-inch barrel, though, gets you to 2,850, 2,875, maybe even a little higher. Those numbers might be a little optimistic depending on who you ask. But you're going to get noticeably more effective range out of the 11.5-inch barrel. That said, you probably built or bought an AR pistol or a short-barreled rifle if that's what you have, because you wanted to have something lighter and more maneuverable, especially in close quarters, than even a 16-inch barreled carbine. And you're willing to sacrifice velocity to get that maneuverability, which is totally reasonable. My favorite rifle is an Aero carbine with a 16-inch pencil barrel. I have a few of them, and they're already very light and easy to use. Surely something like this is even faster to run, right? Yeah, it is in a way. But what do you lose going from the 10.5, the standard of maneuverability for many years, to the longer and slightly heavier 11.5? Well, with my Aero configuration, you're only adding an ounce and a half and a measly inch of length. You might notice that extra inch if you add a suppressor, and the ladies, or gentlemen, always notice an extra inch, but generally it won't get in the way, and the benefits are significant. For me, the benefits of the 11.5-inch barrel make it the best choice for an AR pistol. How is this upper performed? Well, like every other Aero product I've ever owned, this upper is fucking nice. It is run flawlessly, it's beautiful, and shooting it is very, very fun. I'm able to run this thing fast, faster than any 16-inch carbine, even my lightweight ones with the pencil barrels. But that only makes sense. Pistols are, on the whole, faster than carbines. A more apt comparison is to my friend's Mark 18. His Daniel is a very nice pistol, but it's got heavy quad rails, and that really slows me down. The Atlas rails make it feel like the bulk of the gun's mass is over my firing hand, leaving my support hand free to steer the muzzle and control recoil. That works much better, and I can support the gun for far longer that way. Another side effect is that my longer range shots from standing are more accurate, and my recoil control is sturdier compared to the Daniel. My pairs with this gun are faster and group closer together, and rapid strings just feel right. With the Daniel, holding up all that mass for any extended period of time, it's a bit tough. I also have diminished function in my left arm due to an injury, and that certainly isn't helping things. So that's why you always see me moving towards lighter and lighter guns. The heavy government profile, it takes longer to heat up than my 17-inch pencils, as you have that sort of bulbous mass past the gas block, and naturally it takes longer to cool. I moved this thing back so that hopefully you can see the profile of the barrel through the rails. I don't know how well that's going to come through. So naturally that's going to take longer to cool, having this big hunk of metal here. For a gun that's going to be run fast up close, that extra time before the barrel is scorching my delicate little hands comes in handy, but there's a price. This barrel probably takes twice as long to cool to a tolerable temperature than my pencil barrels. There are several reasons for this. Shorter barrels just run hotter, but more metal mass is going to retain heat longer. Them's physics there. Like every ballistic advantage barrel I've had, the group moves very little even when the barrel is really fucking hot, and with the thicker barrel you get more rounds out of it before the group moves. In my case, it seems to move down and to the right about 1.5 MOA after a mag and some change. This barrel shoots great groups, though they aren't as impressive as those from my 16-inch pencils. However, that is almost certainly me and not the gun. I tend to shoot AR-15 pistols, not quite as well as rifles. The weight is distributed differently, and a brace just isn't as comfortable as a stock. With good ammo, this barrel group's 1.25 to 1.5 MOA, though I'm certain the barrel is actually sub-MOA like all my other ballistic advantage barrels in the hands of a competent shooter. Shooting regular ammo, Lake City stuff, this gun is shooting at 2.5 to 3 MOA. Again, it's probably far more accurate than that. With my 16-inch pencils, my groups are routinely nearly half that size. Also, as the gun gets hot, the groups open up a bit, 1 MOA on average with any ammo. That's pretty damn good performance. But it is not all perfect. In general, I don't like the government profile. The weight is distributed oddly, with the barrel having more mass past the gas block. This makes it so that the heavier, longer pencil barrels actually feel lighter in my hands, even though they weigh a little bit more. The pencils might not maneuver nearly as quickly, but they are just more comfortable to hold for long periods of time with that weight evenly distributed. So remember how I said that the 11.5 is more comfortable to run than the Daniel? Well, it's not more comfortable than the pencils. Faster, yes. More comfortable, no. Overall, the pencils are still the most comfortable for a day at the range, but I'd take my 11.5-inch Aero over any other AR pistol, especially the heavy stuff like the Daniels.
Trying to get a little bit faster going across. It's getting there. Ooh, I pulled that last one. I've been debating whether or not to put a muzzle brake on this thing, but I think it would be too loud. It's already probably a little too loud. Yeah. Gotta love that elastic. Let's see how we're doing down here. Oh, not bad. We'll see how quickly I can transition here. sloppy on that middle one. Ooh, that's getting hot. It's getting very nice and toasty. So in my Spiritus, I decided to put my Glock 45 in there. I like having everything kind of in one. It's really cool being able to draw out of your chest rig. Yeah. There's kind of don't get me wrong. I see the benefits of having the holster lower on your body, but it is cool just knowing that you can grab all of your stuff off of a shelf and you have it right on your body, ready to go. There's an appeal to that, for sure. And these are held in the same elastic style mag pouches. Oh, it didn't lock open on the last one. I was probably holding it there. Having the thickness up front, I'm not a huge fan of the government profile, but it's kind of all they had available, and it's growing on me. It's still heavier even than a 16-inch pencil barrel. What do you say? Let's see how fast we can run this thing. Let's see what happens. Not bad. Got sloppy. Slopped all over the place.
It's starting to smell like popcorn.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. This barrel being relatively new, yeah, it does smell like movie theater snack food whenever it gets going really hard.
What would I change about this upper? I really don't like the barrel profile. I don't like the government barrel profile ever on any barrel. You have this skinny bit at the back here and then this thick part up front, and it makes for an awkward barrel that feels much heavier than it actually is. But it was the only available profile. I know that Faxon makes a lighter 11.5, but I'm partial to my Ballistic Advantage stuff, and it's not that much lighter. It's like 3 ounces. We need an 11.5-inch pencil barrel, something really light and handy. That would make this my favorite AR-15, period, pistol or no. Final thoughts. The 11.5-inch barrel is the future of AR-15 pistols, the best of all worlds. With this barrel length, it feels less like I'm compromising. Is the government profile the greatest? No, it is certainly not. But this overall configuration and the way it handles is certainly a step in the right direction. If you need a light and handy AR-15 pistol, you should check out Aero, even if you don't like the 11.5-inch barrel. These days, I'm convinced that nobody makes a better AR than Aero. They've got great customer service and their guns are an insane value. They keep up with anything else out there regardless of price, and it's been a while since I bought an AR from anybody else. Also, if you're still out there running around with a 13-pound AR-15 like it's 2007, you owe it to yourself to try a lightweight gun. See if you can build something that comes in under 6.5 pounds with the optic. It'll open you up to a world of new and exciting AR-15 bliss. There's no going back. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I will talk to you soon. Good night.